Hi everyone, welcome to the second episode of 2021 Sports Talk with Didi. Didi, welcome to the show once again.
Welcome, Kirti, and looking forward
Thank
to
you.
interacting with you today.
So, Didi, the big news is that India has already announced the team for SCG. The New Year Test match is going to be a pink Test match. It's a celebratory Test match, so as to say. Uh, Ever since I think Glenn McGrath got into the Sydney Test match. So that's the separate vibe of the Test match. But I think New Year and Test matches either in Australia or in New Zealand or even in South Africa. So I think they always bring in a fresh breath of air for all the cricket fans like you and I. The bad news is that the Asian teams haven't started really well because Pakistan has lost in New Zealand, Sri Lanka has lost in South Africa. But the onus is on India. Uh, so let's. I think without any further ado, what we should do is that we should get into the team selection. And I would like to hear from you. What are your thoughts on the Indian composition, the 11 players that BCCI has chosen?
I think we've gone ahead with the best possible thing amidst the limited resources that we have had.
Mm-hmm.
With Rahul getting injured in the last moment, the option was between Mayank and Vihari, and I think uh, I would also have gone with Vihari in the 11. Now the point again here is that who do we open with? And I think Rohit and Gill will open.
Yeah.
Vihari will retain the position in the middle order, lower middle order. With respect to Saini, I think it was a toss-up between Saini and
Nattu.
Natarajan.
Mm.
Saini is a proven first-class bowler, so they have gone ahead with uh, kind of a safe bet, I would say. However, Natarajan would have brought in a different uh, angle of a left-arm pacer in the whole mix of things. But I think overall, I think I'm happy with the selection.
Okay. I also feel that possibly, uh, you know, the chances of Natarajan having lasted the entire Test match, because there could be a possibility he might have to bowl at least 40-45 overs, and
Mhm.
I'm not really sure whether he has that kind of first class background or not. I know that he has played about 20 odd first class matches, but coming in and continue to bowl in, I mean there are both the sides to it. But I also feel that since Navneet Saini was the first pickup in the Test squad, and I'm sure that selectors would have seen something in him, and therefore the inclination should be towards him. If you have chosen him in the first place, you should go with him.
Yeah, and I'm kind of
Yeah,
I don't know. It's difficult for anyone to say whether uh, Natarajan would survive a 45-50 over Test match bowling. I mean,
yeah,
but unless you put somebody in the
you never know.
real show, you never know, right? So
Correct.
uh, because he's in the team, we have to assume that he's fit enough to survive a Test match.
Absolutely.
Uh, I'm personally happy with Saini and the team, because whatever we are a kind of a handicapped team with the absence of so many key members, and yet we are 1-1 with two tests to go in the series. So let's see. SCG has
Yeah.
not been a very happy hunting ground for foreign teams in the last 20 years. I think only England has won there twice in the last uh, like 20 years. Once in 2003 and the other one in 2011. India has drawn all their matches this decade, or rather this century. They lost
No, they lost the 2007 one.
the 2007 one. I think
Yeah,
2008 one they lost. I think otherwise they've drawn the last three out of the four
yeah.
they've played in SCG, and no other team has won a test
SCG, but
in
has been a good hunting ground for Indian batsmen since 1992 when Ravi Shastri scored a double century, Sachin got 100 too. It was a drawn Test match. I remember India lost the five Test match series 4-0 or something like that, but they were able to manage a draw. Typically, I think SCG Indian batsmen they find it relatively easier for them.
Yes, we have had VVS Lakshman score one of the great
Yeah,
modern day test innings that I have seen. Not as in two actually. Uh, his 178 when Tendulkar scored 241 uh, was was what David Foster Wallace once talked about Federer as a religious experience. I think Lakshman's 178 when Tendulkar was not playing well and you know trying to come back to form to score that gritty 241. On
yeah,
the other hand, Lakshman was playing as if it was an absolutely different attack and a different wicket.
yeah,
Of course, his 167 there is one of India's all-time best innings, be it inside in India or even outside India. So yes, SCG has been a good, happy batting ground for us. But uh, the thing to be also seen is that uh, the Test series has not resulted in team scoring a lot of runs.
yeah, yeah.
We need to see how good a batting wicket it is, and plus both teams have a very good bowling lineup. So
So did he just wanted to get your views on Rohit Sharma having to open for India versus having not to open for India? I mean, if you were to be the captain and the team management, I know that Hanuma Vihari had been made a makeshift opener even in the previous tour that India did to Australia. So, do you think in order to protect Rohit Sharma, they will go the same path, or the writing is that since Rohit Sharma has enough international experience as an opener, at least in the white ball cricket, and given his experience, then he should take the opening position itself and not make someone like a Hanuma Vihari a scapegoat every time a superstar comes back in the Indian team. So your views on this?
it's a very it's a nice question you have put in. And today, Abhishek Mukherjee, one of finest cricket writers and analysts, as well as I have personally interacted and met him, one of the finest cricket historians, I would say. He came out with a very nice tweet today, and he said, uh, list of Indian cricketers who were in the Test squad and have opened batting in Test cricket at some point of time: KL Rahul, Rohit Sharma, Shubman Gill, Prithvi Shaw, Mayank Agarwal, Hanuma Bihari, and Cheteshwar Pujara. Right.
Correct.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people in the squad have opened batting. Right now, out of which Rahul is not there. You're not playing Prithvi Shaw.
Yeah.
So you have a choice between Hanuma Bihari, Mayank Agarwal, Rohit Sharma, Shubman Gill, Pujara. Pujara is your number 3.
Yeah.
So Mayank is not playing. So Shubman has kind of justified his selection between Rohit Sharma and Hanuma Bihari. It's a toss-up, right? If Rohit Sharma survives the new ball, he has too much talent in his body to create masterpieces.
Yeah. If Rohit Sharma
Right?
plays 3 sessions, it is game over for Australia.
India will not lose
Yeah.
the Test match.
Yeah. For sure.
Right, and he somehow needs to just replicate his ability to last a 50 over match versus an ability to you know he somehow uh, becomes elegantly casual in Test matches, I feel, which is why he gives away his wicket and all of those things. So if Rohit Sharma survives, I have personally said Shubman Gill is the future of Indian cricket, and I think Rohit Sharma is without a doubt the most naturally talented batsman in Indian cricket,
Yeah.
even perhaps in world cricket. So we'll go ahead. We'll see how it happens, but I'm sure the team management will think through a lot of things.
But if you were to put your
Bihari has
money,
not.
if you were to
I
put
would
your
still
money,
put my money on. I am a very as in I'm a very aggressive person
okay.
in life in general. So I'll put my money on Rohit opening the batting.
So for you, Rohit to open and Hanuma Vihari to continue at number 6.
Yes.
Fantastic. I was just going through the batting lineup once again, and I saw Hanuma Vihari, Rishabh Pant, Ravindra Jadeja, and R. Ashwin. These were the 4 lower middle order batsmen or batters that India has. So basically, TD, my expectation is that these 4 players they should account for 2 specialist batsmen equivalent score for India to have a good chance in the Test match. I thought last test match I had said that between Jadeja, Ashwin, and Pant, they have to score 100 runs, and if they're able to do that, India should be in the driving seat. And I think on a similar, because if you look at the experienced batsmen that India has, basically there are the openers, and Rohit Sharma is just about coming into the team. Shubman Gill is a rookie himself. So basically, it is after that it is Cheteshwar Pujara and it is Ajinkya Rahane, right? And then there is Hanuma Vihari. I don't think that Hanuma Vihari has ever batted number 5 in his entire life.
I will have to check, but I don't remember it. But I think he's batted mostly 6.
Yeah,
It's
he's
mostly
batted 6 or he's
might
or
have
too
batted
higher.
at 5. Yeah.
So, which basically, I was thinking that instead of focusing on Vihari as an individual batter, because he uh, all said and done, even Hanuma Vihari is a new batsman. He's not really an old guy. He's a young guy, and he's played most of the tough tours that India has done in the last couple of years or last 3 years. And I think that experience is going to help him a lot. But I feel that between these four guys, Hanuma, Rishabh Pant, and by that time even the ball will be old in SCG. It becomes easier to bat. Ashwin, and I think Ashwin has to now, with the confidence of the bowling that he has to sort of step up. Even if he gives 20-25 runs, that's a big bonus for India.
Yeah. Somehow I think his confidence in batting uh, is not what it used to be, right? He used to be. Of course, he has 4 Test centuries, I think, right?
Yeah, 4 Test centuries.
4 Test centuries. So he used to be a very trusted lower order batsman, and one of the best qualities about Ashwin is that his ability to play the ball late,
Yeah,
which
yeah,
even a lot of uh, opening or like higher order batsmen don't have that ability. He has a beautiful ability to play the ball late, and I think if he gets in some runs in this tour, every run is crucial because.
absolutely,
Uh,
absolutely.
so, but again, I was listening to Justin Langer's interview yesterday, and he gave a very nice interview and very mature interview around how he is looking ahead to the test. And he said that, he was asked, "How do you coach Steve Smith?" He said you cannot coach Steve
Yeah,
Smith, right?
yeah,
He's a genius. So Steve Smith is due for runs. Warner is back in this, hopefully back in the side. So that will definitely change equation, right? What needs to be seen is how Bumrah and Ashwin manage the
workload.
workload between them.
Let's just hope they've
And
recuperated really well, because I was going through some data, and I saw that out of 265 overs that India has bowled, Ashwin and Bumrah have bowled about 160 or 165, something like that.
yes,
It was a
yes,
staggering
and
number.
Bumrah for a fast bowler is doing a lot of the hard work,
Yeah,
and just go just we God wishing him, he retains his ability because he is incredibly genius as a
yeah,
cricketer. He's a thinking bowler. He's not a one trick pony. He has so many things up his sleeve. He knows when to bowl what, and more importantly, he doesn't give away lose balls.
that's correct.
Right. The problem with Indian bowling abroad has been that you will give 5 good balls and 1 bad ball.
Yeah,
4 runs in an over in Test cricket will spoil your whole effort. Bumrah is always at you,
yeah,
right? So that is and that was the advantage with Shami as well. Always at you.
yeah,
Ishant had developed into that in that same corridor, which is why
absolutely.
that bowling lineup. And I was really happy to see Siraj had such a brilliant debut in a Test match. To lose your father and then to have the mental strength to come back and get selected and play your first Test match and take I think 5 wickets
It is a big
in your
deal. It
first
is a
Test.
big
It is a big deal. So
deal.
we just hope that our batsmen can live up to Pujara is due for a score.
Yeah,
Pujara was the difference between India's victory in Australia line last tour. As Steve Smith is due for a score, Pujara is due for a score. One-on-one Australian bowling is perhaps has a slight edge than
obviously,
India.
at this point of time, they are ahead.
Yes,
Man to
yes,
man, they are ahead.
without a doubt, because they're 4 of
Because
the world's best bowlers in the
because
lineup.
India is
So
India is not playing the second line of attack. India is playing the third line of attack. India is not playing the second line of attack. India is playing third line
You
of
don't
attack.
have Ishant and you don't have Shami, right? So
You
which is your
don't have
first line of attack?
Ishant, Shami, absolutely.
You don't have
You
Umesh.
you can replace one
So
bowler. You can't replace three or four bowlers for a tour like Australia.
yeah,
Anyway, I think one final question on the team is that a couple of years ago, when we were in Australia last Sydney Test match, our coach Ravi Shastri had made a statement of sorts, saying that Kuldeep Yadav is going to be the abroad or away spinner, given how he
I
sees the
remember
role of
that.
leg spin.
Yeah,
There's a couple
yeah.
of statements, very, very bold statements, nothing to take away from Kuldeep, but somehow, Kuldeep's lost his way, predominantly basis his performances in the IPL. But my question to you is that the right lens to look at a bowler, some bowlers possibly cannot be a great white ball success, but does finger spin have a good place in the Australian lineup, or say in Test cricket in today's time? I know that in this team, I'm not debating. Kuldeep Yadav does not fit in. India has brought in the best team possible, but from the point of view of having to sort of mature a spinner, uh, trying to create opportunities for somebody like a Kuldeep Yadav to come and play, do you think the right strategies have been in place from an India team selection point of view?
You also have to see in whose place will Kuldeep
Yeah,
Yadav play, right? Uh, he came up. His rise as a white ball bowler was meteoric, right? Last couple of IPLs, he has somehow lost his confidence. He in fact lost his place in the team also in KKR. So I don't know. There are technical people who are working with him to solve the issue, but white ball cricket and red ball cricket is two different things, right?
exactly.
You are expecting there are certain categories of bowlers, for example, who get wickets because people try to hit them and then they get out in trying to hit them because you have a fixed overs and you have to score this amount of runs. But in
Absolutely.
test matches, it doesn't work that way, right? Your whole ability to grind through overs, your whole ability to keep on bowling the same length or varying the same length. There have been very few bowlers who have been able to maintain the success in white ball and red ball. Warren and Murli are two outliers. Let's not bring them, or Kumble are all outliers.
Yeah.
One of the early proponents of uh, mystery bowling, and the man who I feel is the father of all of these variations is Saqlain Mushtaq.
Saqlain Mushtaq, absolutely.
Saqlain Mushtaq was the one.
He was unplayable. He was unplayable,
He was
absolutely.
unplayable. He was
Yeah.
the first bowler I saw who used to bowl in the slog overs as a spinner and did not get hit.
Yeah,
It was
absolutely.
difficult to get hit.
And not just
Yeah.
not get hit, he would take wickets in bundles in slog overs.
Yes.
I remember.
Yes. And Saqlain Mushtaq was the difference between Tendulkar, majestic 136, not allowing India to win,
Absolutely.
and right. Apart from Saqlain Mushtaq, and those great bowlers, that if you look at now, Ashwin doesn't get a chance in the white ball team.
Yeah,
Although we have talked on the show that we
he
feel
should
that
be back. Yeah,
he should be back, but white ball cricket has changed tremendously now, tremendously. So and unless Kuldeep plays a lot of test matches, you also won't have data to kind of support whether he or she
or
deserves a
for
place
that, or
at this
for
point
that
of time.
matter,
No.
a lot of first class cricket. He has to play a
Yes.
lot of first class cricket.
Yes. At this point of time, no. Ashwin and Jadeja are in a different league of their own.
I agree.
Yeah. So I think he needs to be a little bit lucky to find a spot, and if he finds a spot, he has to also perform.
Yes.
Right.
I think whenever he's been given a spot in the test team, he's done well. To his
Yeah.
credit, he's done well. But yeah, and I think he's still relatively young, so there is a lot of time for him to sort of come in and still be of value for Indian cricket. No doubts about it. Now, my question to you, Didi, is that earlier in the past, we would see that Australia typically would announce their team 24 hours or even 48 hours ahead. This series,
The
that has
mind
not
games have
happened.
started this time.
Yeah.
The mind games have started.
So basically, they would do that because, and I would always think that why is it that the Indian team gets announced at the toss always? But I think tables have turned in a very pleasant way, especially if you're an Indian cricket fan. And so, uh, I mean, what is it? I mean, how many more hours does David Warner need to be possibly fit, etc., etc.? Or is it about the mindset or the psyche, or is it just that Australians do not want to sort of, play all their cards in time so as to bring any benefit to the Indian think tank?
There is a there is a point of time. Sport is also a lot about confidence, right?
Yeah,
Now, suppose Warner would not have played. Suppose Warner would not have played. Would India's selection have been different? Would we have gone with an Natarajan? Or we don't know, right? But India is saying that whoever you bring in, perhaps this is our team. This is our best 11, right? And the other point to be looked at is, uh, I'll again bring in a tennis analogy, right? When you are mentally there, as an individual player or as a team, you really don't think too much about what will the opponent क्या करेगा क्या नहीं कर सकता है अगर ये हुआ तो वो होगा. I remember 2015 US Open.
Yeah.
If it wouldn't have rained that day. It rained before the final, and Federer that year he brought in the saber. If you remember, right? He brought in the saber, and Djokovic was flummoxed in the Cincinnati Masters, where Federer just literally took everyone apart.
Yeah.
He was in the form of his life, and before the final it rained. The courts became slower a little bit, right?
Yeah.
And it kind of course, on a slower court, Novak Djokovic is a
absolutely
beast.
Absolutely.
And Federer played very well, but again, somewhere in his mind, he could not convert the big points. And Djokovic eventually won in 4 sets. You can't just look at statistics to analyze a match, because there's a lot of components that went into the match or the scoreline. So similarly, Novak's mentality, and what I'm trying to say is that Novak's mentality, court fast to row, I will play, I'm there.
Yeah.
So you can't think too much about what wo kya karenge. It's at the end of the day a boxing match, right?
Correct.
So I am I think India is in a mindset now that they are perhaps playing a mental game, but I don't think it matters at that level. Australia is taking time for Warner.
Yeah, particularly I am enjoying it a lot, seeing that Australians are behind in announcing their teams, because I have those memories where they would announce their playing 11, keep a 12th man, and then release all the other 3 players to go and play in Sheffield matches, which would also
that was a very different era where they would have won. They would keep on winning everything, right?
Yes.
So
I remember once Michael Clarke was not a part of the team, but he was part of the squad, and he went to the Sheffield, and then he scored a century and came back, and there was a big discussion on how Australia, even when their players are in the squad and not playing, but there is an opportunity for them to go back and get some very decent match practice and things like that.
That happens when you have a very strong domestic structure plus a very strong bench strength plus a dominating team. It has happened even in India, playing in India with a lot of players being released for Ranji Trophy, right?
Correct.
So I think it's a circle of life. Somewhere it turns, tables turn. So
I think it is the time of Indian cricket. So we should enjoy it till the time it lasts.
Absolutely, without doing too much of analysis.
Yeah.
But I think on a different note, I'm looking forward to Warner playing.
Yeah, I also want to see that how this Indian team plays, at least against an Australian team, because I know that last time we won, but we also knew that there was no Steve Smith and there was no David Warner. We knew that.
There was an asterisk. This time there is no asterisk because India is handicapped.
I think
but I'm just saying that
if at all there is going to be an asterisk, it is going to be for Australia, because India is not a full strength team this time.
Yeah, you don't have Virat Kohli, you don't have Mohammad Shami, you don't have Ishant Sharma.
Exactly.
Right. So, but I'm saying that as a sports person, my mentality, I'm just saying that I hope Warner plays, because Warner is an absolute Warner will change, and he can change the match on his own.
Yeah,
right?
He can.
He scores quick. Warner at the top, what happens is that because he scores quick and all those runs, people coming in also become more freer, and he negates the wide, the ball.
he just
No,
breaks the
it
bowler
becomes
also.
old, and the whole equation changes.
Yeah, the bowlers
He will
also,
not just
he scares the bowlers basically. David Warner in Test match cricket, if he scores 100 of 130 balls, it is a big dent to the bowling side. It is a big dent psychologically. So you're right, absolutely looking forward to him. So DD, as a part of the initial agenda, I also kind of wanted to discuss, the other New Year Test matches briefly, but I will leave it here. Possibly in our Saturday episode, we will come back and have a discussion on the Pakistan and the Sri Lankan Test sides. Uh,
Kane
we,
Williamson is in a
yeah,
different league.
absolutely. And I think nothing to take away from how Kane Williamson played, but the way Pakistani bowling and fielding came up, I just have a special mention for Mohammad Rizwan, their young wicketkeeper. I think he's a really good batsman now. I've seen him bat.
Absolutely,
He's a
absolutely,
really good find. He's fit also. He's very fit. Quite unfamiliar for Pakistani players, but he's very fit, very athletic. His keeping is good. So we will keep that for later, and we will come back on Saturday, and we'll do an elaborate discussion on the New Zealand and the South Africa Test matches.
absolutely.
So
And
quick
in
one,
fact,
your predictions, DD, for SCG.
it's difficult. With test matches now,
I
not
know,
going
Didi, I
with.
know it is
No, I
difficult, which is
still
why I'm putting you in this
I will
spot.
still do a prediction. I am predicting an India victory.
You are predicting an Indian victory.
Yes,
Fabulous. Fabulous. I hope I'm also predicting an Indian victory. Those are my predictions, and let's hope that the Indian team really plays up to the strength and they are able to hold fort. SCG is going to be relatively easier as compared to the either to an Adelaide or to an Melbourne. So fingers crossed and let's wait.
absolutely. And just one more point is, we tend to talk. Somehow over the last few years, the toss has become a very critical part of test match results, right?
Yeah.
But who won the toss in MCG? Australia, right?
Yeah. Yeah.